Today we're going to talk about mindset and this idea of where your mind is set. Now, there's two main categories people tend to be in: fixed mindset or a growth mindset. Fixed mindset is things are the way they are, I am who I am, things will be what they're going to be. A growth mindset is someone that accepts challenge and thinks about things are the way they are, but they don't have to be that way. I can grow, I can learn, I can engage, I can get better. Now, obviously, people look at this and go, well, why would you want to be in a fixed mindset? Because being a growth mindset, being able to accept challenge and get better, it pretty much is a guaranteed choice. But most people never step back to think about it like that. They think, you don't even realize, and we've talked about this before, the hypotheses we walk around thinking of it as facts. That's the exact same thing. If you assume something is a fact that is really a hypothesis, you're in that fixed mindset. Something like, I'm an introvert, I'm not good talking to people, and I can't handle pressure. If you walk around thinking that's a fact of your life, instead of thinking, actually, I think that's true, but I've never really challenged that, or, maybe if I did something different, it would be different. That is you actively challenging a hypothesis and realizing, actually, that was a story I was telling myself. And the whole point of becoming a growth mindset individual is realizing that everything in life is a story we tell ourselves or a story someone else tells us. And when we realize that we get to change that story, that allows you to choose and to see the world as something that's malleable and something that you can leave your imprint on and that you have an incredible amount of autonomy over in your life. So the big takeaway is where you are assuming things, outcomes or reasons or motives, step back and question that and look and say, how could this be different? What would I do differently if someone asked me if I could do this differently? And so start thinking about that will allow you to be more instead of problem focused, you're solutions oriented. That's what you want. You just look and say, what's going on? What am I not happy with? How could it be different? That is how you shift to a growth mindset. Now you'd ask, well, of course that sounds pretty easy, but how do I create this space? Because when I'm in something and things happen, it just feels overwhelming. And I don't really feel like I get to think about things in that way. Now, this is a huge difference. The next pairing we'll do is the difference between reacting versus responding. Reacting is like a gut reaction or a knee-jerk reaction. It's just something happens, I react. There's action, stimulus, action, just those two, boom, boom. There's nothing in between. And this reaction is just like, it's almost always emotional. I'm happy, I'm scared, I'm sad, I'm afraid. All of these things are emotional reactions to anything that happens in our life. But here's the thing, there's another option. There's this idea of responding. And so there's Viktor Frankl, who is it's a famous Holocaust survivor, and he's a psychologist. He wrote, and he had this amazing quote, but he was saying, between action and response, there is a space, which is someone's ability to choose that response. So when we don't choose it, we're reacting. We're just kind of taking the first thing that comes to us. If you're driving and someone cuts you off, you react, right? If you are falling and you're slipping and falling, you react to grab something. Those reactions are good, but understand that those reactions are always a response to protect ourselves. But in choosing a response, we're able to look at what's happening and think about what we actually want. Then we can create space to control our emotions, to control our words, our intentions, and our thoughts that allow us to act in accordance to what's going to serve us better long term. Now, the entire practice of creating space to contemplate and think about something before we respond is the idea of mindfulness. And that's simply being able to listen to yourself, to create space that is separate from emotion, from feeling, from thought, and just be. Now, there's this idea of meditating, mindfulness meditation, you name it. There's people who have practiced for thousands of years. It's simply just being quiet. And it's the practice of not holding on to any one thing. The simplest way to think about this is you're sitting, you're focusing on the breath and nothing else. Ideas, emotions, impulses, intentions come in, and you just let them flow right by. And by doing this, what you're doing is developing the practice of not attaching to things. So when you have an emotion that comes up and go, I have to go do this, I'm so angry. Or let's say you and your friend are in a fight and you're just consumed by this anger or this frustration, or you're sad or mad or whatever it is. You can't focus on anything else. But when you practice this mindfulness over time, you will realize that you are not your emotions. They come and they go, they pass by, but you can detach as separate from those. And that gives you the space to say, I am upset about this. I'm experiencing upset or frustration or sadness about this. But that does not have to define me, nor how I react or nor how I respond in this circumstance. This is just like saying the better you get in terms of your strength and ability to move and control your body, you're able to do more on the field. So let's say you're running and backpedaling, the stronger you are, the quicker you can change direction and adjust. But if you've never done any training and you're not strong and you don't have good athleticism, you're not gonna be able to change and adjust as quickly, right? You may fall over and end up on the ground. It's the same thing. So mindfulness is just like training your body, but it's training for your mind. And the best way you can do this is to start to carve out a few minutes each day just to be quiet. You don't have to journal, you don't have to meditate, but doing something like going for a walk, being in silence, just doing something where there are no distractions, there's nothing else, and you're not really thinking about other things. You're just being present. That is huge because this allows you to create space from your emotions and your feelings. Now, I'm not saying you ignore them, but I am saying you can acknowledge when you have a feeling and emotion that comes up. You can breathe, you can apply logic and intuition to it, and then you can create a learning lesson from that and choose a response from what's available to you. If you can stop that emotional impulse to say that mean word, to do that thing, to hurt somebody, whatever it is that's out of the short-term feeling-driven impulse, you can save yourself so much pain and trouble in life. So the take-home from this is work on your mindset. Create and cultivate space to contemplate and think about yourself as separate from all these things that come in and out of your brain. As you practice that, you will be able to choose responding instead of reacting. And then because of that, you'll be able to step back and see the world as a place that is, you have so much autonomy and control of your life and what you do, that you won't be able to ever consider if you're always in this fixed reactive mindset. Choose to be responsive, choose to grow by cultivating space, and you will see a whole new opportunity and set of situations open up for you.